Okay, we're gonna start with the conference about the seven bodies. As you can see in the image, there is someone that's trying to take a look a bit about what is the universe about. And, well, it's a physical body, like putting its head outside of what we call our world and taking a glance a bit of the universe. I think we all have that mystery about knowing what is outside of the universe, but we only get to see the part that our physical body allows us to see. We can taste, see, touch, and smell with the senses of our physical body, but we cannot see beyond what's in our third dimension or our material bone and flesh. What's important about this conference of the seven bodies is to know that there is a way to know the whole mysteries of our universe, but it's only going to happen when we create the seven existential bodies of our being. Each body is a vehicle with which we can travel to the different dimensions of nature and experience them directly. We can experience our third dimension through our senses, our sight, our sense of hearing, and we can take a look about what is the material objects that surround us. But there are um, different kinds of knowledge in the superior dimensions of nature and superior senses with which we can experience them. These are the existential bodies of our being. We only know the physical body because we already have it. It's the part that we can see and touch and experience directly, the material part. But it's only the shell of the snail. What's inside of that shell is this whole we have some principles. We have the vital body, that is the energy that gives life to our physical body. We have the astral body in principle. We don't have it created, but we have a principle of astral body, that is the body that allows us to go to the dimension of dreams or the fifth dimension. In that dimension, we can experience some information of our being when we can interpretate our dreams. In the mental body, we have the principle that allows us to remember, to plan, to project. That is the principle of our mind, the force of our mind to think, to measure time. The causal body is the body that is the principle of our will, of our strength. Is the principle to deny our animal nature and being able to achieve our human nature. And the Buddhic and the Atmic bodies, as you can see, they are of a solar nature. We have that 3% principle of solar nature in ourselves. What is a solar nature? Solar nature means that we haven't lost these principles of justice, wisdom, and love that are our 3% of conscience that is active inside ourselves. Once we get to achieve the physical, vital, astral, mental, causal body, we are going to be able to connect with the Buddhi and Atmic bodies and achieve the 100% of conscience. That is to get back to the force of our being, or achieving the sacred individuality of our being, and get to know the whole mystery of the universe and the existence on this plane, on this dimension of conscience. But our physical and vital body, we already have them. We just have to regenerate it. Because they are degenerated by the fornication. We don't have the The astral, mental, or causal bodies, we only have a principle. We need to create them using the technique of the supra-sex. And when we have them created, we can connect to our percentage of wisdom, justice, and love that is in the force of the spirit of our being, and create our human spirit, because we don't have it now. We are rational animals, mistakenly called man. Okay, so we are gonna talk a little bit about the nature of each body and the location in our microcosmos, the energy which characterizes that body, and the functions that they have. We're gonna start talking about the sexual body. That is the first body that we are going to create, ascending our fire or our sexual energy through the spinal cord. It's the physical body. The physical body is in our sexual center, that is located in the coccyx bone. It has three purposes. We use it nowadays only to create our ego, our animal ego, in the infrasex. The normal sex was when men and women united sexually to not to fornicate, but to create life through the union of two sexual cells, not spilling the whole content of the seminal energy, but only with one sexual cell of a woman and one sexual cell of a man. We could achieve what was the Immaculate Conception. And the other technique that we are going to practice and teach in the knowledge of oneself is the sexual tantrism, or the creation of the sons of the light, that is the union between the opposite sex, men and women, to create what we call our conscience, or uniting to use the sexual creative energy to create the superior existential bodies. That is called the sexual tantrism or suprasex. So in this physical body, we find that the nature of this body is cellular. We have the cells of our blood, and we have the cells of our sexual energy. Each one have the power of creating another body as perfect as ours. It belongs to the third dimension, as you can see, because this physical body is in the third dimension. All things that have a volume, that all objects that have 3 dimensions are in the third dimension of materiality. It works with the sexual creative energy, and it's of a lunar nature. We have to regenerate it through suprasex. It's what we call the earth of our microcosmos. And the person who can regenerate this body is going to be able to talk to the soul of this element earth. The soul of this element are called the gnomes and pygmies of the earth. Now we're gonna talk about what's the vital body. The vital body is going to be created once we achieve to ascend our sexual creative energy until we get to the sacrum bone, where the instinctive center is located. The instinctive center manages what are the waters of our microcosmos. It is ruled also by 48 laws, as well as our physical body. It has a etheric nature, not a cellular, but an etheric nature. That means that it's characterized to be conformed by three ethers. The ether that is the luminical ether belongs to the perceptions of light that we can have of our macrocosmos. We receive some impressions that are of a luminical ether and assimilate them in that ether. Also, we have the chemical ether that is consists of all the chemicals that we get into our microcosmos, that are the food that we eat is transformed into some chemical ethers, the air that we breathe, and that is what we call the chemical ether, in fact. The reflector ether that is done by the reflection about the external perceptions that we receive from the outside. That is what we call the imagination and will of that ether, and the life ether that is related to the part of the sexual aspect of our energy. So this instinctive center works with the vital energy, that is the tetrasustenter energy, that we receive that tetrasustenter energy all the nights when we go to sleep. And this tetrasustenter energy is going to be distributed to the 7 centers of our human machine. So it also is the water of our microcosmos. So when a person manages to regenerate its waters or the vital body, it's going to be able to talk to the undines and narrates of the water. Higher up on the spinal cord, at the height of our lower emotional center, we find the astral body. The astral body is characterized by having 24 laws. It has a molecular nature. What happens when we go to sleep is that the molecules that conform our astral body can travel to all the places of our macrocosmos. If you wish to travel to some place that you haven't traveled, your molecules can obey you when you have the will to travel in an astral projection. So what travels in an astral projection are those astral molecules, or the fire or desire that you have earned by denying the pleasures and desires of your daily life. So by saving energy at night, you can achieve an astral projection which will take your molecules to any place you can visit or you wish to visit, or any wisdom that you want to ask a master that you wish to find in the astral projection. So the astral projection works, the astral body, works with the emotional energy because it's located in the emotional center at the height, as you can see, of the solar plexus. We need to create it because it's in a lunar condition. When a person creates the astral body, is going to be able to talk to the soul of the element fire. That means with the salamanders of fire. Higher up on the spinal cord, a person that achieves to rise the waters of the sexual energy to the lower intellectual center will achieve to create the mental body. The mental body is characterized by having an atomic nature. That means that when you get to create your mental body, you will talk to the atoms of any of your egos, and will be able to ask them any questions that you want. It's in the 5th dimension and works with mental energy. We need to create it because it's in a lunar condition as well. When someone manages to create the mental body, he or she will be able to talk to the soul of the element air, to the sylphs and the sylphids of air. Higher up on the spinal cord, at the height of the motor center, the person who rises the waters until that place will be able to create the causal body. The causal body is the body of the will. That is, when a person is managing to know and get to dominate all the elements of nature in its microcosmos, that has the ability to dominate the power of sex, or the urge of the microcosmos, the power of the instincts, or the element of water, the power of the emotions, dominating the emotions, or the fire of the microcosmos, and dominating and being a master of the mind, or the air of the microcosmos. This person is going to be able to dominate another element that is higher, and is going to balance and have the ability of achieving an equilibrium between the four elements of nature. This equilibrium is the force that organizes the elements of the microcosmos, so it's a creation that has an organization that obeys the conscience. The body of the will is going to be created by a person that knows how to deny its pleasures, to knows how to deny its animal nature, because he's going to be able to create his human soul. The human soul, we don't have a human soul right now, we are only animals, but the human soul can be achieved by the denial of our animal and instinctive nature. This causal body has a nature that is electronic. What does that mean? The electrons are the force of denial, are the force of saying no, of denying ourselves in order to achieve greater things. We have to deny our animal desires, our animal instincts, our destructive emotions, our destructive use of sexual only for pleasure, or the sex only for pleasure. This is going to be able to give us the power of achieving the element ether. The element ether is the element that organizes everything in the macrocosm, in the microcosmos. So it has 6 laws, and works in the 6th dimension, the dimension of the cause. As we said, we are going to be able here to create our human soul. Higher up on a spinal cord, at the height of the pituitary gland, we find the buddhic body. The buddhic body is what we call our divine soul. It has a nature that is protonic, is magnetic, is also ruled by 6 laws, and its element is akasha, the element that is the substance of all universe. It's found in the 6th dimension as well as the causal body, and works with the energy of the conscience. It didn't fall with the fornication. That means that it conforms what is the 3% of our justice, wisdom, and love. This is the force of love. Is the force of the protons, precisely, of affirming and not denying, of conciliating the forces of nature. Higher in our pineal gland, we are going to connect with the atmic body in the higher intellectual center. The atmic body is characterized by only having the 3 laws, wisdom, justice, and love. Is in the 7th dimension and works with the energy of the pure spirit. It's of a solar nature. It didn't fall also with fornication. And it's the lowest part that our being can reach, that our being comes from the world of the pure spirit. This is the lower part in which it can reach in the third dimension. This atmic body is still really heavy for our nature. So, how are they made? These bodies, these 7 existential bodies of our being, how can we manufacture them? These vehicles that are going to lead us to experience the different dimensions of nature. We are going to manufacture them by the practice of the suprasex or sexual tantrism. What we need to do this practice is to have a stable partner of the opposite sex interested in collaborating us for this creation. We are going to be able to create true love, so we need 3 principles that are basically for this work. These are the principles of fidelity, chastity, and love, because it's going to be a unique partner. We need to value the sexual creative energy, because it's the force of our love or our divine mother. If we spell it in orgasm or fornication, we are going to create more animal ego. But if we are willing to ascend it or transmute our sexual energy, we are going to create the force of our conscience, which is going to allow us to eliminate the destructive force of the ego. So, it's really necessary that the both person, men and women, know what they are doing, know that they are working with their sexual creative energy in making a sexual transmutation and improving every day. So this is done by the connection of the genitals of men and women, lingam and yoni, and the penis and the vagina need to establish a connection in a normal sexual practice, in which we are going to achieve not expelling the sexual energy in orgasm and fornication or ejaculation, not that, but ascending that fire through the spinal cord until it gets into the higher centers of the human machines. So the steps of the practice of transmutation of sexual energy are the following. We need to first make a conjuration of Belining and magic circle of protection. This is like a conjuration. Those are words that have certain energy that are going to protect our space and enclose it from distractions or energy that are going to interrupt the practice. We are working with really powerful energy here, so we need to protect the space and enclose it from interference. We need to beg the assistance of our father and mother, which is the 3% of justice, wisdom, and love, because those are the forces that are interested in the creation of superior energy. We are going to start like a normal sexual practice by activating the sexual energy with caresses and kisses to achieve the erection in the man and the lubrication in the female yoni for penetration. Then we have the connection, the normal sexual connection between men and women with the penetration, the penis and the vagina. So the sexual transmutation process also is characterized by a process of inhalation, retention, and exhalation. We are going to first inhale the air, take it all the way from your nose, through your lungs, and then through your sexual glands, as the image shows. That is the inhalation process. It lasts 20 seconds, more or less, And when we complete the inhalation, we are going to do the retention of the energy. Without exhaling, we are going to retain the air and imagine that a golden thread is ascending through the spinal cord until it gets into the pituitary gland that is in the middle of our eyebrows. And then we are going to do the mantralization in the part of the exhalation. Once the energy gets in the middle of our eyebrows, we are going to mantralize the vowel E, imagining that the energy is coming in the middle of our eyebrows and illuminating our human machine. This process is repeated separately for each vowel. Inhalation, retention, and exhalation, now with the vowel ah, and then again the process: inhalation, retention, and exhalation with the vowel o. Each mantralization needs to be done separately for each respiratory process. So it's important to mention that the important thing in this sexual transmutation process is that we can achieve concentration, conscience centered in action. That means that we are concentrated in what we are doing, not thinking about what are we preparing tomorrow for lunch, or what are we gonna do, or we have bills to pay or something. No, only concentrated with the force of imagination, because imagination is the force of creation. We need to visualize and feel the energy flowing through our body until it gets into the superior centers of the human machine. E, and then A and O. And also it's important to have the will and the strength to resist and overcome the fire of desire, because it's not that it's the force of desire or animal instinct of expelling the energy what's going to rule the practice. Is the force of creating and ascending the fire to our spinal cord. That is why we have to have the strength and the willingness to defeat that animal instinct of expelling the energy, because the objective of this practice is not expelling the energy, but doing the sexual transmutation and condensing the energy in the spinal cord. And we are only going to condense the energy there in the spinal cord if we are thinking about ascending it through your superior centers and flowing into your conscience. That's it. There are certain recommendations. Well, it's more that they have to be done. It's necessary that you do them because it's an attempt to your physical body, not doing them. For example, that we need this practice, we need to wait 20 hours, minimum to practice again. We need to wait 2 hours minimum for taking a bath. We cannot do it during pregnancy, during lactancy, or during menstruation, because it's an attempt to our physical body and to our divine energy. And that's it. This is a practice that needs to be improved each time that we practice. We're gonna get better. We're going to get to imagine and feel the energy once more and more, and we are going to be united and magnetized to our sexual partner and creating love, being in love more and more with time. And that's it. This is going to help us create the vehicles that our being needs in order to experience the different realities that are in the different dimensions of nature. For example, the fifth dimension of the dreams you're only going to fully get to experience once you create your astral body. The mental dimension, the dimension of the causal will, you're only going to experience those dimensions once you get to 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 build your causal body, and your mental body, and you're only going to feel what it's like to be in the sixth dimension when you fully get to build that body. You only have a principle, but if you could just create that body, you could willingly travel to the sixth dimension anytime you wanted. And that's it. I invite you to practice these techniques in building the existential bodies that your being needs in order to unfold the mysteries of the universe that are immense, and we just need to be able to come out of the box. We are like enclosed in the box of our physical body. We are only taking a look at the material things that surround us. But if we could see the higher dimensions, we were surprised ourselves. Thank you for watching the conference. I hope you like it, that is useful for you. And have a good afternoon.
Okay.